Is the EV market booming or taking a dip? People seem to be interested in the EV features, and many countries are now seriously promoting it. But does this mean the EV market will take over the automobile world? Even with some short-term issues in certain markets, current policy suggests that by 2030, nearly 1 in 3 cars on the roads in China will be electric. In the United States and the European Union, it will be almost 1 in 5. It's well known that drivers can save money by using electricity instead of gasoline for their daily commutes. On average, a driver can save between $4,000 and $5,000 in fuel costs over 5 years. This year, more than 1 in 5 cars sold worldwide is expected to be electric. The demand for electric cars is booming. It's likely to reshape the global car industry. We'll see a significant cut down on oil used for road travel. Global electric car sales are expected to stay strong in 2024. It would hit around 17 million by the end of the year. In the first quarter, sales grew by about 25% compared to the same time in 2023. It is similar to the growth rate from the year before, but starting from a larger number. The number of electric cars sold in the first 3 months of this year is almost the same as the total numbers sold in all of 2020. In 2024, electric car sales in China are predicted to jump up to about 10 million, making up 45% of all car sales in the country. In the United States, about 1 in 9 cars sold are expected to be electric. In Europe, even though the overall outlook for car sales isn't great. Also, some countries are ending subsidies. Electric cars are still set to make up about 1 in 4 cars sold. This growth continues from a record break in 2023. Last year, global electric car sales jumped by 35% to almost 14 million. Most of the demand was in China, Europe and the United States, but growth also increased in emerging markets like Vietnam and Thailand, where electric cars made up 15% and 10% of all cars sold. Big investments in electric vehicle supply chain, continued policy support, and lower prices for EVs and their batteries are expected to drive even more growth in the coming years. With current policies, half of all cars sold globally will be electric by 2035. If countries meet their energy and climate pledges, 2/3 of cars sold could be electric by 2035. This rapid increase in electric vehicles, covering cars, vans, trucks, buses, and 2- and 3-wheelers, could save around 12 billion barrels of oil per day. This would match the current demand from road transport in China and Europe combined. IEA Executive Director Faith Birol mentioned that the push for electric cars is strong, though it varies by market. He noted that instead of slowing down, the global move towards EVs is entering a new phase of growth. Investments in battery manufacturing are progressing to match car makers' big plans for expansion. Because of this, the number of EVs on the road is expected to keep rising quickly. Based on current policies, nearly 1 in 3 cars sold in China by 2030 will be electric, and almost 1 in 5 in the United States and European Union. This change will significantly impact both the auto and energy industries. The manufacturers are making big efforts to meet government's growing EV goals, including major financial investments. Thanks to high levels of investment over the past 5 years, the world's capacity to produce batteries for EVs is well prepared to meet demand. This continued even though the supply increased sharply. However, the speed of shift to EVs will depend on their affordability. In China, over 60% of electric cars sold in 2023 were already cheaper to buy than regular gas cars. However, in Europe and the United States, gas cars were generally still cheaper. But with growing market competition and better battery technology, EV prices are expected to drop in the coming years. Even when EVs are more expensive up front, their lower running costs means they save money over time. Chinese automakers, who made more than half of all electric car sales in 2023, are boosting electric car exports, which could help lower prices. These companies are also setting up factories abroad, so they have seen strong sales of affordable models launched in 2022 and 2023 in international markets. This shift shows that the main EV producing countries are starting to differ significantly from the traditional car industry. But then, having enough public charging stations is essential for the continued growth of electric vehicle sales. In 2023, the number of public charging points worldwide increased by 40% compared to 2022, with fast chargers growing even faster than slower ones. However, to match the electric vehicle goals set by governments, the number of charging stations needs to increase 6 times by 2035. Additionally, strong policy support and careful planning are needed to ensure the increased electricity demand from charging doesn't overwhelm the power grids. Electric vehicles don't have gasoline engines, so they skip over 24 mechanical parts that need regular maintenance. With an EV, you won't need to worry about oil changes, cooling system flushes, transmission services, air filter changes, spark plugs or drive belts. Also, because of regenerative braking, you'd hardly ever need to replace your brake pads. This means big savings, and even better, more free time for you. A big misconception about electric vehicles is that they can't drive very far, but that's not true at all. Depending on the model, many electric cars can travel over 200 or even 300 miles on a single charge. Western car makers are already competing fiercely among themselves for a share of the EV market, but now they face an even tougher challenge from China, which is aggressively investing in the sector. Tesla, a well-known EV manufacturer in Western markets, saw its first quarter sales drop by 20% this year compared to the same period in 2023, and its share price has fallen over 25% since the start of the year. Experts say this is partially due to increased competition, with companies like Xiaomi, originally a smartphone maker based in Beijing, launching its first EV, the SU7, just a few weeks ago. The competition from Chinese EV makers has made Western EV companies pay attention. During a call with analysts in January, Tesla's CEO Elon Musk mentioned that Chinese car companies are the most competitive in the world. He also said that he thinks they will do very well outside of China. This was a big change from 2011. When Elon Musk was asked about the competition from BYD, China's biggest EV maker, he laughed at the idea. When former Bloomberg anchor Betty Lee asked, "Why do you laugh?" Musk sarcastically said, "Have you seen their cars? You don't see them as a competitor. I don't think they have a great product." How popular are Chinese EVs? According to the International Energy Agency, Chinese EVs make up 60% of global sales. Tesla and BYD have been competing for market shares over the past few years. Chinese manufacturers now hold 3 of the top 5 spots in global market share. BYD has 17%, GAC Aeon has 5.2%, and SAIC GM Wuling has 4.9%. Tesla is still in the lead with 19.9%, and Volkswagen is in 5th place with 4.6%. This is a big change from 2012, when Chinese manufacturers only accounted for 0.1% of global EV sales. Western car makers also get tax breaks from their governments for making EVs. In the US, the Inflation Reduction Act, passed in 2022, offers tax credits for buying new and used EVs, ranging from $3,750 to $7,500. These credits are almost double or triple what Chinese consumers get. However, new rules from the US Department of Treasury in January this year reduced the number of EVs eligible for these credits from 43 to just 19 models, made by Ford, Tesla, GM, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen and Chrysler. The US government is thinking about taking stronger actions to limit the growth of Chinese electric vehicles in the US market. To protect the US auto industry, President Biden's team is facing calls to raise import tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. Senators Gary Peters, Debbie Stabenow and Sherrod Brown wrote to the administration, warning that letting heavily subsidized Chinese cars into the US could harm American car manufacturers. But in a recent meeting in Paris, the European Commission questioned if China's EV market is unfairly benefiting from subsidies. They also discussed the possibility of new tariffs on car manufacturers, including those from China. Do you believe EV would be the next future? Comment your thoughts down here, and also hit the like and subscribe button to watch exciting content. See you next time!